A Philadelphia Flyers defenseman boycotted the team's Pride event last night. CP24's Jamie Goodfreund joins us now with more on this story. Jamie.
Thanks, Scott. Ivan Provorov boycotted this team's pregame warm-up. The team was wearing Pride-themed jerseys. They wrapped their sticks in the rainbow colors. It was all set to be auctioned off to support local charities. Well, I want to get reaction to this move. I want to bring in Kurt Weaver, Chief Operations Officer for the You Can Play project. This is an organization that partnered with the NHL back in 2013. A lot of the activities focus on fighting homophobia. I'm very curious, what was your reaction to yesterday's move by Ivan Provorov?
It's of course disappointing that I guess first of all disappointing that the athlete made his decision, and then of course disappointing that the coverage ends up on this kind of thing instead of the amazing work the Flyers did. They had a heck of a night last night, amazing visibility for the community, some wonderful outreach around the game, not just what happened on the ice, but it was really a celebration of the community there, and I'm just disappointed this sort of overshadows that great effort.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. There's been so much activities to have this sport more inclusive, especially considering the fact that, you know, we don't even have a player that has come out yet, and there's been a lot of talk about that over the years. But I'm also curious about whether you think the comments by the team's head coach, John Tortorella, said he respects Provorov, stayed true to himself and his religious beliefs, and also the NHL released a statement that they basically went on to say that the players are free to decide which initiatives to support, and we continue to encourage their voices. Was that an appropriate response, in your opinion?
It's the expected response, and I think really the only one the team can have. We of course respect the players' decision. If they want to make a choice not to be part of this, that's got to be a decision the players potentially could make, but I think we'd rather them make better decisions. The knock-on effect of this, you know, that jersey now doesn't go to auction, which doesn't support a local charity. There's bigger issues here than just a quick decision a player makes right before a game to warm up or not in a Pride jersey. So, of course, we want a player to make the right decision. I'm not surprised that that's the comment coming from the coach and also from NHL, because, again, we want to make sure that the players have the options to get in those initiatives they'd like to be involved in, and especially those who really want to get involved. 19 of 20 players last night put on the jersey and supported the effort, and we thank those players so deeply.
I was wondering if you could also talk about some of the work that your organization does to fight homophobia in sports.
Sure. We work with all the way from the pro leagues down to the little community, little leagues in all kinds of sports. We have about 35 different pro organizations that we work with in different sports. Hockey was our start. Our very first partnership was with the NHL. We turned 10 last year, so we've been doing this a good long time. And we found that the progress has come. We've seen sports like hockey. It's diversity and inclusion is not just something that's good to be done. It's a growth strategy. It's the future of the game. And so I think sports are understanding that this is a great thing to do. It's not just for good for hearts and souls and minds, but it's also going to be the right thing for the bottom line over time. So we work with those organizations to make sure they have the right materials, resources, and energy and support to then keep those efforts going.
And as you mentioned, 19 out of 20 players did choose to wear the pregame jersey, but you did have this one player that chose to boycott it. And I'm wondering what message you think that sends to some younger athletes out there that might be struggling with their sexuality.
We've already heard from a few this morning. I was DMing with one earlier who was asking some questions and just wanted to know more about the situation. And again, it does impact. The voice does get heard. And so equally, the positive voice gets heard. And so again, those players and the Flyers themselves as an organization lead the way in this, and they do a great job, as does the NHL. And so I think their continued efforts will eventually overcome any individual hiccups that happen like this along the way.
Kurt, it's no surprise to a lot of people who have been watching what's been playing out in Russia. They don't necessarily have the best track record when it comes to homophobia. It is a very dangerous place to be openly gay. A lot of gay people are persecuted and discriminated. And I'm wondering if, I'm just being hypothetical here, but in any way you think that maybe he chose to sit out this out of potential repercussions for any family members that might be back home if he was openly seen supporting LGBTQ plus initiative.
You bring up a good point. I don't know his heart, but I can say that certainly Russia is a different place than it is here. We just came off a soccer World Cup that had a whole lot of issues around it as well in the same space. So we always like to say that we know the players don't come into this homophobic. We're going to give them new information, better information, and hopefully they make better decisions as they go forward. So we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt in that. We're not about canceling a player for something they're doing. We want to be able to give them the opportunity to grow as an individual as well as then an athlete on the ice.
Kurt Weaver, Chief Operations Officer from the You Can Play project. I'm really glad that we had this opportunity to have this conversation. Really important stuff here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time.
All right, Scott, back to you.
All right, an important conversation. Jamie, thanks for that chat. Appreciate it.